All right, let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Malumbi.
Here.
Jerza.
Here.
Osterloo. Genslinger.
Here.
Sonny.
Here.
Benny.
Here.
Kosher.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Does anybody have any interest that might have an issue with the agenda is approved as presented?
Item number 13. I'll stick with number 8.
Okay. So noted. Let's take a look at that agenda. It has been provided in the packet. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item. Minutes of the meeting of March 28th were also provided in the packet. Anybody see any need for a correction to those minutes?
Move to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that the minutes be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the next meeting, which would be the 25th of April.
Set the date. Second.
Moved and seconded that the date be set. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a conditional use permit for Amy Holtz at 708 East 2nd Avenue. Amy Holtz has applied for a conditional use permit to operate a family residential daycare located at 708 East 2nd Avenue, legally described as Lot 9, Block 16 of F.F. Green's Division, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is zoned R2, single-family residential. Mark, anything special here that we need to know?
Applicant, like I said, residential daycare. We did receive 3 letters from neighbors in support of it. There was one comment on one of them saying that the alley was busy and hoped that the drop-offs and pickups were from the street instead of the alleyway. That's all that we've heard from any of the neighbors.
Okay. Anyone here in the audience want to make a comment on that issue? Hearing none, we are ready for a vote.
Fire inspection.
I don't know if Shannon has completed that as of Friday yet, and he's not here yet to answer it, but I informed the applicant that they would be required to do that. The 3 normal caveats I told them about.
Move to approve.
Second.
With
Moved and seconded that the residential daycare application be approved with the usual
With the
caveats.
Okay.
Any discussion on the motion?
Sure, I have a question, quick. How many kids can a daycare have? Is there a limit? I assume there's a limit.
I believe it's 12 that they can have. You do not have to be state licensed. You can be licensed with the state, but not receive any funding. You can be licensed with the state and receive funding, and then you can just not be licensed at all with the state. When we were looking at it previously, I think the city had 25 or 26, but 9 of those were like Indy Riddle, the school programs and stuff like that. So the city actually had 15 that we knew about, but that comes and goes all the time as well, though, too.
And having young families in my family, residential daycare is a pretty important item. And if you can find a good one, more power to you.
There's lots of variables too. You can, depends on how many children they have under the age of 2 or ambulatory, non-ambulatory, you can go on and on with the restrictions. So that question can be all over the board. But Mark's pretty much got if it's a state regulated one, they got that 12 number just pops up a lot.
And most family residential daycare usually are dealing with folks that know them and they know, and there are usually not a lot of children in them. That's one of the reasons why there's a lot of them.
At one time, we had 3 kids, and this was back in the mid 2000s, 05, 06. $1,300 a month was my daycare. And I told that to my nephew the other day, who lives in Minneapolis, and he laughed at me. He said, I got 2 for $2,700, and I had 3 a month.
Yeah, it's been,
All right. It has been, we have a motion?
Yep.
And a second. And we've had discussion. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Let's go on to the next one. Guess what we have? Another conditional use permit request from Jasmine Lang at 717 West Ash Avenue. She has applied for a conditional use permit to operate a family residential daycare located at 717 West Ash Avenue, legally described as Lot 12, Block 10 of Railroad Division, City of Metro Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is also zoned R2, single family residential. Anybody got any comments on this one? Mark, anything special?
We have not received any comments back from neighbors for or against this. Fire inspection hasn't been done to my knowledge at all either, but we'll get in touch with Mary's again to make sure that's done. Applicant is here. If you have any questions for them at all.
Applicant, would you like to talk to us? Come on up.
We're waiting for Northwestern to make some arrangements with us. We have a power line that goes from the main source to our home that currently is blanketed over top of our garage. As we had that windstorm, we had a tree on our property split. Yeah, lots of fun. But so we're getting the tree taken down, so right now we've got a lot of branches and stuff on our property. But we're hoping this weekend to get it all cleaned up and have Northwestern repair the power line. And then I would like to have the fire inspection done, if that's all right.
So you understand what's going on here?
A little bit.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for this young lady? Thank you for your comment.
Okay, thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it with the 3 caveats.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on that motion? I think she's well aware of what's going on, and hopefully things get going. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good luck on the fire inspection and other things that you have to do.
Thank you.
Mark, I'd say.
Yep.
All right, next item is a Mike Hauser at 2021 West 3rd Avenue has applied for a variance for a combination of attached and detached accessory buildings at 3,270 square feet versus 2,000 square feet, and a height variance of 24 versus 22. For a new accessory building located at 2021 West 23rd, legally described as Lot A of Mason's Addition, in the northeast quarter of Section 17, P103 North, R60 West of the 5th parallel meridian, Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is zoned R4 high density. This is outside of the city limits, but it's within our extraterritorial jurisdiction. So,
That is correct. Applicant would like to tear down the existing garage that they have to the southeast of their home, put up a 42 by 60 foot shed. By doing that and including the existing garage that they have that's 15 by 50, the two added together equal the 3270 square feet. I did receive a call from one of the neighbors just questioning where it was going. They didn't give any input for or against it at all. And the applicant is here if you have any questions for him at all.
All right, Mr. Applicant, if you would like to make any comments to further our knowledge of what's going on, we sure take them, but we think we probably know what's up.
Yep, it's pretty self-inclusive.
Any questions for the gentleman?
Define attached and detached. How's the combination?
It's just, that's what our ordinance states, it's attached and detached garages or accessory buildings. So no, there is no attached garage with this, it's just, that's the way it's stated in the ordinance, that's the way I put it in there.
Do I hear a motion? Seems how I hear no further discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that the variance request be approved. Discussion on the motion. Hearing no discussion on the motion, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign, motion carries. You know, Mark, maybe we should look at that height thing. We see a lot of that 24 foot instead of 22.
Sure.
Maybe we should be thinking about the way the trusses are built or something is making that 24 when you get to this size building.
We had a code class last Thursday in Sioux Falls.
Okay?
And while eating lunch with a couple of the other building officials, we discussed that accessory building came up. And not very many people add the accessory building that's attached to the house as accessory building. In fact, I don't think there was one at our table that did.
Okay.
That might be something else. If you're gonna look at that, you wanna look at the other one.
Get together with Mark.
Mark's probably aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got a list about 3 different things that we had to talk about, and that's kind of what we do at lunch all the time. It got pretty interesting.
Yeah, and having been in the same kind of business, you learn a lot more once in a while at lunch than you do at the meetings. Gary, I know you're sitting back there smiling, thinking the same thing. All right, next item. The Mitchell Prehistoric Indian Village at 3200 Indian Village Road has applied for a variance for a minimum front yard setback for a historic site building of 22 feet versus 30 feet located at 3200 Indian Village Road, legally described as Mitchell Prehistoric Indian Village site in the northeast quarter of Section 9, T103 North, R60 west of the 5th parallel meridian, Davidson County, South Dakota. The said real property is owned public land district.
Just one thing, I don't think that you guys actually voted on that last one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you did. My peanut gallery right here said that you did.
Yeah, we voted.
They do.
My fault.
We had an A and an
Just give yourself a little.
Going too fast.
Yeah, yep. All right,
All right.
I'll look back at
Yeah.
So with this one then, they are going to be removing the existing building that is near the fence. It meets the same setback as what the existing building was going to be, but since they're tearing out the old and putting in a new, we're doing another variance to go with it. There is a ditch right here that is historical value. So it goes right up through there. They can't actually dig in there, so I think that's actually going to be just some concrete on a post. This is the way I was told it was going to be. It's going to be for storage, for cold storage, and then also sifting through dirt within the building, and that's where it's the historical site, because it's an accessory building, yet it deals to the main focus of the intent of what's going on out there. Because you can't have an accessory building in a front yard. Well, it's it's not an accessory building because it is dealing with the intent of what's happening out there, the primary. Applicants here, if you have any questions, the city of Mitchell is the only neighbors to this that are within that area.
Okay. You want to talk to us about what's going on out there?
Only if you have questions.
So I've got a question. You said, Mark, you can't dig in that spot, but you can dig to put in the foundation for the building, right? Or is it a pole building?
I can address that.
Okay.
As a National Historic Landmark, we have to be concerned about disturbing any of the features out at the site. So in that area where we might move in onto that the prehistoric drainage ditch, we lay down a heavy mill plastic and cover over with fill and then lay the concrete on top of that.
Oh.
And that is acceptable because then we aren't disturbing the feature itself. We can't dig into it, but we can lay over the top.
So in terms of, so the actual building would be over that space?
It's possible.
Just in that corner, right?
Yeah, just in the
It's
corner.
maybe 4 foot by 6 foot corner, ain't very much. It would,
Oh, okay.
Would you agree, Mark? Or?
Yeah, it's not going to be
The
very
corner of
low.
that building barely touches it, if it does.
Yep.
Like the maybe
You haven't cited that in yet. for
4
sure.
by 6 triangle, yeah, they might move it a little more, but it'd be real close, or maybe not, but if it does, it ain't gonna encroach much.
Yeah, I was just questioning if the building needs the foundation, you can't.
Sure.
That's
You bet.
really where I was going with all that, so.
But these drive on grade. Okay, other questions? Hearing none, we are ready for a motion.
I'd move to approve with the condition that the new building is no closer to the road than the existing building.
And I think we measured it in, I think it's actually just a touch farther, by maybe 2 or 3 feet, when we actually pulled a tape to it from that fence, that chain link fence you see there.
I'll second that.
Do I hear a second to the motion? Yeah. Do I hear further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a plat of Lot 1 of Moore's Edition in the southeast quarter of Section 9, D104 North, R60 West, of the 5th PM, Davidson County, South Dakota, as requested by Ashton Tom. What's going on there, Mark?
This is outside of the 1 mile, but it's within the 3 miles, so it still comes to City of Mitchell by codified law. Ashton is going to be purchasing this land from her grandmother, so her county statute, or county ordinance, it fits within that because it's under 25 acres, but it's the allowable acres to go from family member. Planning Commission recommended approval of it at the county last Tuesday. County Commission will hear it tomorrow for their approval with it. City has no issue with this at all.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the plat. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is a plat of Lot K, Block 7 of Westwood, First Edition, a subdivision of the southwest quarter of Section 16, 10360 of the 5th PM, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, as requested by CJM Consulting Incorporated.
If you've driven out in this area recently, a lot of it's filled in. There's buildings that are on 8, B, C, D, and F, and also all the way across on the north side of that as well. There's a existing drainage ditch that goes in between, that splits the 2 halves. On the north half, there's nothing built yet. On the south half, they did just build 2 buildings. We held up their building permit for quite a while before they could get that due to drainage issues. They needed to do a drainage survey on this whole area. That was approved by Joe, and the fix was they have to dig out part of the ditch along the bypass. State has approved them able to do that, so that if there is a big rain event overflow, it has it's able to flow off into the north there.
Okay, looks like that's been all hashed out. Anybody here want to comment on what's going on there? You sure tell us who you are.
Yep, Mike Bathke. I own 2 shops to the south and west of this, and this has been an ongoing dispute between Mr. Macheski. The city wants to say they're going by the master plan. They're not. The master plan is, might as well go out the window. They've, literally, if you go out there now, where Terry, you have your mowing equipment, they filled the whole ditch in. No culvert or nothing. Just filled it in. I don't know how you can do that. And the ditch is supposed to be 20 feet wide. It's in a 2-foot culvert. That's not 20 feet. And I know Joe hired SBN to survey it, my property, because I gave him permission to go on it. And I guess I'm a little upset that I was never informed that they moved past this without telling me how they're going to get rid of this water, because it directly affects me. In 19, I have a video of it up to my building. Since then, they've built, and we're here to plot this land that they've already put the buildings on, creating more runoff. And when it goes into these culverts, the one between where, I don't know who owns it anymore, Mr. Jensen's building houses there, they have basically a hog panel over the face of the culvert. When I drove over there yesterday, it was full of construction debris. They have a culvert running under a storage shed. It's supposed to be 20 foot wide. I don't know how you can approve this when they haven't followed the master plan. Any questions?
Guys, questions?
I'm going to stop 1 second. I would invite you guys to drive out there and look at it. And since this time, I don't know if anybody goes down 7th Street there and noticed, there's always been water that puddles at the corner of 7th and the bypass on the east side. The county has cleaned that out. So now all that water is coming across to me.
Okay, where are you at?
8th in the bypass, you mean?
Yeah, if you look at, on 8th and the bypass, the county had where their entrance goes up into their shop, that's always had a water problem, sitting water there. And recently in the last 2 weeks, I see they cleaned it out, which is great. Got the other side cleaned out. The city jetted underneath their driveway going into their shop. So my point is there's way more water coming in than what it'll handle. Cutting that ditch over there, I don't know how you cut a ditch 1.5 blocks away deeper that's going to help me any.
All right.
That was a question I had too, is if we're using that ditch to drain water, property water coming from here has to go through the neighbor's yard to get to that ditch. I don't see how that works.
This ditch right here.
Right there.
Yep. And Joe was unable to make the meeting today. He had another engagement that he had to go to. He said he approved it. If anybody has any questions, Mike, you can definitely.
I'm surprised you didn't reach out because backing this up a little bit more, when Kyle Croce was here, me and him had a deal. And you can ask Joe about this because it just happened to be the last day that Kyle was here. I called to make sure that deal was going to transfer over. Nothing would be built south of that street, that private road, I don't even know what it's called, until the drainage issue was solved. And since then, I think there's 4 or 5 buildings been built there. And I haven't said nothing because I just, it seems like I get nowhere. And the city attorney told me it was a dispute between neighbors. I don't police it. I don't give them the building permits. I didn't approve a drainage plan, so I don't know how it becomes a personal matter. I did hire an attorney and sent off some letters. I believe the city got one, explaining my position that I've got to protect my property. I've invested a lot of money over there, a lot of money. And I don't want to see it flooded out. At any given time, I'd hate to even tell you how many dollars are in that shop at any given time.
Where's your shop?
Mike, could you point out on the,
Right there, there's 2 of them, both of them.
These two right here.
okay, in the area that is not draining from you is where?
No, it drains, but there's not a big enough volume.
I got you.
So it all backs up, basically, is what it does. It doesn't just flow through like, it's supposed to be 22 feet wide. It says that right on that. If you could pull it up on the plot they're trying to get approved, it's not 22 feet wide. They've put approaches over it and then put a 2-foot culvert in it.
Drainage.
Right there,
12-foot wide drainage.
22. Blow it up, 10 on one side and 12 on the other, down,
So,
right there.
Well, kind of sounds to me like maybe we should table this until we can get some answers over there.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'd go out and take a look at it too. Because, yeah, if the easement, or if the drainage isn't the right width, if there's a building over a culvert, I mean, it all sounds kind of screwy to me, you know?
Yeah.
I think we should, I agree, I think we should table it until we kind of understand,
After going back out there, not to interrupt you, but going back out there, and the reason I brought up that county deal, I'm looking at this, and there's an enormous amount of acreage that is draining to that property. Not necessarily on the, from the other side of the highway and everything, comes that way to get into the ditch to go north.
Well, and there's a bunch of roofs out there now, so it's gonna make it go faster.
My point exactly. And a lot of concrete.
Yeah.
I agree that this probably should be tabled till next meeting, but just some clarification on easement widths. The easement widths aren't necessarily what the ditch width needs to be. A lot of times easement widths are set on what's needed to construct in that area, so.
But I can't build on it, correct?
Correct.
They did.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get what you're saying, it's not necessarily a 20-foot wide ditch, but at some point it needs to be tapered. I get that. I'm actually in the process, if you go out there, I'm widening mine out to try and protect myself.
Okay.
So I would appreciate if you table it, and that would give me and Joe an opportunity to maybe go out there. I'm a site guy, I want to see it. That's why I invite you guys. Go out there and see it. It baffles me, it really does. Because I was the second one out there. Now I'm technically the first one out there because I purchased the other shop, and I had to follow all these rules. He even laid out in there, and I've never enforced it, had to put a fence up. So I put a fence up, nobody else did, but I don't care.
All
So,
right.
thank you.
We have a motion. Table it. And we have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I should be ready to vote. Let's go roll call this time.
Malumbi.
Yes.
Jerza.
yes.
Genslinger.
Yes.
Sonny.
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried to table.
Thank you. A master plan of the Gauntlet construction project over by the airport.
So you've seen this a few times already. The thing that was missing was the actual master plan to go with it. You guys approved the plat a couple weeks ago pending the master plan be approved. So SPN has done all the work for that to get the master plan ready. Shows all the elevations for all the proposed housing, the drainage ditch that will come in between the two lots here and go down following National Guard Road. On lot 6, we are going to ask for more easement with it being an 18-inch pipe instead of 18-inch pipe. We actually need about 20 feet instead of the 10 feet that they have there. So we'll put that with the building permit that they can build within that area as well.
Okay. Any more discussion?
In essence, the master plan reflected that change.
So you want it on this document instead of an easement filed before the building permit?
In That's because we're gonna be approving plats here pretty soon.
These have all been approved already.
If they have already.
Yep, they were all approved at the last meeting. The cart kind of got in front of the horse
Yes.
with how they were trying to do everything with the tip and everything that was going through with it.
I'll take that back.
Make sure that it gets on as a building, make sure that,
All the elevations are on there, yeah, it's nice to have them all.
yep. Further discussion? Hearing none, do I hear one?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, I assume we're ready to vote, let's go roll call again, please.
Scherza,
Yes.
Genslinger,
Yes.
Sonny,
Abstain.
Penny,
Yes.
Malumbi,
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Any other business to come before this body at this time? Hearing none, if you have a need to address the City Planning Commission on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium, state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes and will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. And as no one has come forward to the podium, this meeting is adjourned.